Greetings, I'm Alan Matthews from Classical Guitar Shed. Let's talk about the left little finger, the pinky on the left hand. I hear a lot of questions about this pinky, and I also, doing video reviews for Woodshed members, I oftentimes see issues with the pinky, and so in this video you will hear all sorts of tips to have a beautifully operating left hand little finger. If you enjoy this, please subscribe to this channel. Well, there are a few common mistakes or a few common problems I see with people's left hand little fingers. First thing is playing it too straight. So if the left hand finger is too straight, it can't do what it needs to do. If you think about pressing out with something with a straight arm, this isn't as much strength as if you bend your arm and then press on it. It's just a better use of your muscles and your joints. So one of the things that causes this is by having the first joint right here touching the guitar. So if you grab your guitar like this, then this little finger is going to want to stretch to get to where it needs to go. This is a safety blanket, and so it feels like the guitar is just going to fly out of your hand and through the window if you don't grab onto it like this, but actually it won't. Gravity will help keep it with you, and even so, you still have your hand around it. It's not going to fall on the floor. So one of the main things is stop if you're doing this, then don't glue your big joint to the side of the guitar like this. That's going to inhibit your little finger. Instead, keep this part of your hand parallel to the bottom. That will enable your little finger to be curved. Now, once we think about curving the little finger, where is it the strongest? Well, any joint is going to be at its optimum space halfway in the middle of its range of motion. So if you think about the tip joint, how far can it really go? The middle of all of those, right? So in other words, your whole arm, this is not the strongest place for your arm. Your strongest place for your arm is going to be halfway on everything. That gives it the most number of options of ways to move and also uses the muscles really well. So then if you think about that with that, then your little finger doesn't need to be curved like this all the way in. It doesn't need to be straight. It doesn't need to be all the way in. It needs to be in the middle. And then so if you think about that, then there's a strong spot with a nice C shape. You can make a C in your hand, and that's going to be it. So that's going to be a nice way to play it. Sometimes you'll need to come straight down on the string because of buzzing other notes and things like that. But oftentimes you can come into the string at an angle, and it'll be stronger that way than, or more secure feeling that way with your little finger coming in. It can touch the next string sometimes. It's okay. Sometimes it can't, but sometimes it can, and when it does, then that might be the best bet for you. The other thing that you can do is with that, you can optimize your hand for the little finger. So instead of optimizing your hand for the first finger, like we just talked about here, this feels safe, and with the first finger gives it a nice curve. You can rotate your hand this way, optimize your hand position for the little finger so that it's in the strongest position, and then your index finger, if it has to reach up here and grab something, well then it's a really strong finger. We use that thing all the time, right? That's the one we use it constantly for grabbing things. So optimize for your little finger. Let your first finger be the one that has to go and jump through the hoops to get where it needs to go. That will enable you to play cleaner and get to the spots that you want to get to, especially if they're on the lower fret. So instead of stretching over and doing all kind of things, just rotate your whole, drop your elbow, rotate your hand around, and be here so that your index finger is straighter and your little fingers are curved. Another problem that oftentimes happens with the little finger is the snake bite. That snake bite motion to where it pops around, and we can adjust that by practicing more. We'll talk more about this in a second, but just doing more left hand exercises where we have more control over it so that it's not so popping around. You can also notice at a particular place if it's in relationship to the ring finger. If it's far away from the ring finger and it's moving in and out, it's much more likely to do that snake bite motion. Whereas if it's in more aligned with the rest of the fingers, then it won't be as bad. right there. And you can move much smoother. You move it out and you might get more of a joint popping type of thing. And this, again, could have to do with the rest of your hand position. So if you are needing to do this type of motion, it could be that rotating your hand around so that your little finger is more parallel to the ring finger could be a help with the snake bite. And as I mentioned earlier, hammer-ons and pull-offs are, I think, about the best exercise you can get for the left hand. It's hard to find a better exercise. So for the most bang for your buck, pull-offs are, I think, the best exercise for the fingers. For control, for strength, for flexibility, for speed, everything that you need. The fingers have to work together. And that builds a lot of strength. So the more hammer-ons and pull-offs you can do with your fingers, and especially your little finger, the better. If you're doing them with your other fingers, do your little finger twice as much and do it first. So instead of starting with your 2 and 1 finger, start with your 4-3. Or triplets, or however you want to do them. Any sort of slurs, that's what hammer-ons and pull-offs are called in classical guitar world, those are going to be a great exercise. But also any type of exercise, planting a finger and then just going back and forth, doing opposing motion exercises, going back and forth. Anything that you can do for your little finger is going to help with the overall control of it. I hope that helps. And lastly, here's a really fun exercise, is that when you are doing your slurs with your other fingers, especially pull-offs, it's really fun to do these slowly and watch your little finger. You might find the thing floating around like it's demented and got a mind of its own. That was actually really good. With the 2 and 3 fingers, while doing this, watch this little finger. It might be that as soon as you start even thinking about it, the little finger just starts moving around like this. But just watch it and will it to stay still. I'm willing it to stay still. That wasn't bad. Oh, curved in. It's going to want to do things. It's going to want to move. It's going to want to do things. So one of the ways to build those synapses, to have better control with the little finger, is to do the slurs with the 2 and 3 finger or the other fingers while gluing your eyeball to the little finger and willing it to just hover right above the same string as the pull-off, right above the next fret, and say, stay there, stay there, stay there. And it's a great exercise. It's really, just do it for a few seconds or else you drive yourself bonkers. But it's a great exercise. So have fun, do good work, and let me know how it goes. All right, see you soon. Please subscribe to this channel, and thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.